My name is Diana Loderhose. I am the International Features Editor here at Deadline. We are here once again at the Red Sea Film Festival, and we're delighted to have our first guest of the studio this year, Aamir Khan. Thank you so much for being here
Thank you.
today.
Thank you.
Is it your first time in Jeddah at the Red Sea?
Well, I was here once before. I had come for Hajj some years ago. And this is for the film festival, yes. This is the first time I'm coming.
Okay. Initial impressions? I mean, you just got here, but
Yeah, I just got here this morning.
okay. So it's
But,
probably
you know, it's a beautiful place. I'm really happy to be here.
So you were involved in Lost Ladies, which
Mhm.
is India's kind of official submission for the Oscar race
Mhm.
this year. You're a producer on this film. I understand that you were one of the you've discovered the script in a
Mhm.
screenwriters lab and then brought it to
To Kiran.
Kiran. Can you
That's right.
maybe tell us a little bit
Yeah, I was a
about that?
jury in this script competition, which was meant to encourage young writers from all over India. And this is the script one of the scripts that I read. And I just fell in love with it. I found it so amazing. It was uh, it was such a dramatic story, and along with that, it was saying such important things, but it was saying it with the very light hand, and it had a lot of potential for humor. And I knew I wanted to make this film, and the first name that came to me was Kiran to direct it, because Kiran and I work closely. I know her. We know each other really well. We used to be married as well, and we've produced films together. So we have a really good and comfortable working relationship, and I really trust her instinct, and I trust her, her aesthetic. And I felt that the honesty that Kiran brings to her work is what is required for this film. Uh, because it's already very dramatic. You don't want to pitch it any higher. And, you want to play it real, and allow the, humor to come out of that. So she did it really well, and I'm so happy with the film she's made. And, you know, people across the world are now really getting to see the film, and they're loving it, and I'm so happy for that.
Was there there's some fresh faces in this, right? And there aren't any kind of big
Well, there are no
stars.
huge stars. Of course, there are some really experienced actors like Ravi Kishan, who plays the cop. I don't Have you seen the film?
Yes.
Yeah, so he plays the cop, Manohar, and so it's a mix of actors who are doing their first film, along with some really experienced actors. Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about being selected for India's entry to the Oscar race? What does that do for a film like this? Like, what's the significance for you?
Well, it's a huge responsibility for an Indian film, because you're selected out of about 1,000. We make about 1,000 films a year.
Yeah.
So if you're selected, then it is a big responsibility. One, uh, we are really happy that our film got selected as India's official entry to the Oscars, and um, it gives the film fresh wings. Hopefully, if it gets nominated, or if it wins, then it really opens up the world as an audience for the film. A lot of people who would have otherwise not heard of it will suddenly want to experience the film. And that's a huge opportunity, I think, for the film and all of us. And we are quite excited by that. And also, Indians are film crazy. We love films. And so there are about 1.4 billion people hoping that this film wins. So fingers crossed. Let's see.
Does it feel like, especially after the success of RRR and internationally, do you feel, being someone who's worked in Indian cinema for so long, when you're looking at the perception of Indian films, the way they are perceived internationally and reaching international kind of audiences, does it feel like there's more of an appetite outside of India now for
I,
Indian
I,
cinema?
I do feel that there are a number of reasons for it. I think mainstream Indian cinema has changed a lot over the last two and a half decades. Indian filmmakers are growing, Indian audiences are changing, and they're more accepting of films which otherwise weren't considered mainstream. And I think along with that, the OTT platforms that have emerged over the years, and specifically because of COVID hitting the world a few years ago, it created a environment where all of us were at home watching stuff. And after a point, all of us started experimenting with films and content from other cultures and other countries. And I think as a result of that, audiences, for example, even Indian audiences, earlier would only watch Indian content. But because of OTT and because of COVID, I think once they had finished the Indian content, they started watching Korean content and Japanese films and films from all over. That's really brought the world a little closer because we've started watching content from different countries and different cultures, and I think that's wonderful.
I am always fascinated when people come sit in these chairs and they're effectively multi hyphenates. You're an actor, you're a producer, you've directed. I wanted to ask you currently, you're shooting a film, a sequel to a film you directed. Is this correct?
That's right.
So I'm going to, I hope I pronounced this right. Sitar Zameen Par.
That's the film I'm doing right
That's
now.
the one you're
Sitare
doing
Zameen
now.
Par, yeah.
What can you tell us about this film that you're shooting now? And how is it to kind of be working on a film, a sequel to a film,
Mm-hmm.
when you directed the first, which I believe was your debut feature?
That
as
was
well?
my debut
Yeah.
feature. Well, so Sitare Zameen Par is a sequel to Tare Zameen Par, a film that I directed some years ago. Uh, However, it's not a sequel in the sense of the characters don't continue from the previous one. So it's a fresh set of characters, a completely fresh situation and plot. Thematically, it is a sequel to Tare Zameen Par. Yeah, it's saying the same things. Uh, Actually, it's saying a lot more, really. So Tare Zameen Par was a film about a child who had dyslexia. So it is a film that explored the themes of challenges of multiple intelligences, and how we are quick to judge people. We are sometimes too quick to judge people based on their written and reading IQ, whereas people have multiple intelligences which don't get recognized often. We all of us have difficulties and weaknesses, and all of us have qualities about ourselves which make us magical and unique. So that theme is the theme that is being taken forward in Sitare Zameen Par.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how far along are you into the shoot
Well,
of that?
we're coming to the post production, really. There are a bit of pickups we have, and then we start the post later this month, and then we would be ready to release the film sometime middle of next year.
Okay, great. Fantastic. One more question about your production company, AKP. I understand you've recently hired someone from
Aparna
exactly.
Purohit, who used to earlier head Amazon India. She was
Okay.
the creative head of Amazon India.
Great.
Uh,
So what can you tell us about her hire, and what does that mean for your production banner in terms of the kinds of films that you're looking to
Sure.
produce?
Aamir Khan Productions is the company I started when I made Lagan. That was the first film I produced. That was about 22 years ago, a little over 20 years ago. And it's really been a boutique production house. We don't make films every year. We make films only when we like a story. When we like a script, then we end up making it. I really wanted to make Aamir Khan Productions a platform for young and new talent. Writers, directors, actors, uh, crew members whose instinct, whose aesthetic, whose minds I like. And I'd like to promote new talent in my company, and talent that I believe in, that talent that excites me. So that's with that in mind, I wanted to produce more films, and I don't think I'm capable of doing it all alone. Because when I'm doing a film as an actor, I just get lost in that, and then I can't do anything else. So I was looking for someone who can take charge of the company and take it forward, you know, in a similar vision, perhaps. And I felt Aparna is the right person for that. She's a really solid creative person, and I love the way she deals with things. She's really straightforward and someone who's worked her way up in the Indian film industry, entertainment world. And I'm so glad she said yes, and she's now heading my company, so I can be sure that we'll have high quality content coming out in the years to come, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with her and working with her.
Great. Is there anything you can tell us about that you're working on from the production point of things?
Oh yes, I'm producing a film called Lahore, which is being directed by Rajkumar Santoshi, who's quite an experienced director in India, and Sunny Deol, who's a big star. He's acting in it. There's another film I'm producing called Ek Din, which is got Junaid Khan and Sai Pallavi, two young new actors really. A third film that I'm producing is the one that I'm acting in, and the fourth one is has been written, directed, and acted by Veer Das. I don't know whether you know Veer Das.
Oh, yeah.
He's a stand-up comic and he's a fantastic actor, great mind. So that's the fourth film I'm producing. It's kind of a mad comedy, a bit like in the genre of Austin Powers.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's a crazy film.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure.
And enjoy the Red Sea.
Thank you.
Thank you.